Hello students, this is just a quick screencast to talk you through our Lesson 7 discussion board assignment. It's a little bit different than how we've been doing our discussion board assignments from lessons 1 through 6, and so I just wanted to record a quick screencast talking to you specifically about this assignment. So I'm in our Lesson 7 homepage, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the directions for this assignment here. So what you'll notice is that you know already that we're done with the book. We finished the last book chapters in Lesson 6. And so in this final discussion for Lesson 7, it's really kind of an overarching reflection on the text as a whole. And so this assignment includes two parts, just like the other lessons did. You're going to have an initial post and you're going to respond to your peers. But a few things that are different about this assignment is that in your initial post, you're just going to type your ideas right into the discussion board. You don't need to submit them as an attachment. And then when you respond to your peers, you actually have to respond to every peer in your group, not just one. So those are the two big differences with this discussion board. The first being you don't attach a document, you write your ideas right into the discussion board. And then two, for your final post, actually let's say final posts, right? You need to respond to all members of your group by the last day of the lesson. Okay, so really quickly I want to hop over to our schedule because Lesson 7 is a little bit longer than the other lessons in our class. So Lesson 7 officially starts this coming Monday, the 23rd. And so your initial post is due 3 days into the lesson. Remember, it says up at the top, you guys know this routine, right? Initial posts are due the third day of the lesson. So your initial post for this discussion board is due on Wednesdays, like all of our other initial posts, but your response to peers are not due until the final day of the lesson, which in Lesson 7 is Tuesday, May 5th. So you have a little bit longer of a time to get into the board and respond to your peers. But just like with everything, it's not a great idea to leave it to the last minute. I would jump in and do it as soon as you can. So you're welcome to get into the board as soon as Thursday because initial posts are due on Wednesday and start responding to your peers. Okay, so for these two parts of this assignment, the initial post, for your initial post, you have to address these three questions. And your total response to all of the questions needs to be between 3 and 4 paragraphs. So that does not mean 3 or 4 paragraphs per question. It means 3 or 4 paragraphs in total. So basically about a paragraph per question. And then when you're responding to each of your peers, it's just 3 to 5 sentences in response to each peer's post. The other thing that I want to highlight is that when you're doing your initial response and answering these 3 questions here, you need to make sure that at least once you reference the book through a direct citation to the text, because that's part of the criteria for earning an exceed score on your initial post. Okay, now, because just like with our previous discussion board assignments, you need to participate in the discussion board and you also need to submit an assignment, right? So when you go into this link from our Blackboard page, it asks you to upload a file or some type of submission. You still need to do that for this lesson as well. And so what I'm going to show you here is what I've done is I just created a quick Google Doc. So I've got, SPF301, Lesson 7 discussion board, and my last name. And what I've done is I've copied and pasted everything that I need to do for my initial post. So you can see that I have the 3 questions here and spaces to answer them. And I've reminded myself that in total I need 3 to 4 paragraphs and I need to make sure I use at least 1 reference. And so this is a space for me to type out my ideas, make sure that it's grammatically correct, good sentence structure. I've included my reference to the text. And then down below, I also have a place to type my responses to each of my peers' posts. Because if I do everything in a Google Doc, this is going to save me time later on when I need to go and submit it. And then also when I go to submit my post for my initial post, I can just copy all of this, go over to my discussion board, right, which would be here. Go down to Lesson 7, create a thread, right? And I could put Lesson 7 initial post Marcos, and then I could literally just copy and paste the ideas from my Google Doc, right into my initial post. And so part of the work of doing this Google Doc is so that I can get out all my ideas first, have something to copy and paste into the board for my initial post, and then I can also work on my responses to my peers either by writing them directly into the board and then copying and pasting them into my Google Doc, or writing them in the Google Doc first and then copy and pasting them into the board. But regardless, then when I'm done, I have everything in a document that I could then submit in the lesson 7 submission, right? So when it's time to turn in this assignment, and so this is going to be due the last day of our lesson, which will be Tuesday, May 1st, you can go in and have a document that you can submit that shows not only your initial post to the board, but also how you responded to your peers, okay? So just going back to the directions, remember this is an overview of the entire text. You're going to answer in your initial post these 3 questions. You're going to make sure that you cite at least 1 time to the course text in your response. You're going to respond to all of your group members using 3 to 5 sentences for each peer by the end of the lesson, which for this week is Tuesday, May 1st. Okay, if you have any questions about the assignment, please post them to the conversation board, and we look forward to not only seeing in the board, but also seeing your assignment submission about your views about the text.